Hey guys, welcome to the Gamers Lounge Reviews podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always is Eric, Nathaniel, and Robert. This is not a regular podcast. This is our monthly review podcast. This month we're going to talk about Tangledeep. It's a game available on PC and the Switch. I think I'm the only one that played it on the Switch. I think all the rest of you guys played it on PC. Oh no, Robert played it on Switch, right?
Switch.
That's
Yep.
right. I'd forgot who got Switch and who got PC. I know I tried to get PC for the guys who could play it on PC because PC codes are way easier to get.
Yep,
Yeah. Back.
that's the common theme.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, so like we always do with this podcast, well, I say always do, this is actually only episode 2, so we're still deciding on
So
how
far,
we're
we
gonna-
always do it.
Yeah, so far we always do it.
Figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, though, is to figure it out as we go. That's the way I like to do it. Seat of our pants. That's the best way. But yeah. So
If
what
there's something you want us to do, let us know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
maybe we'll work it in.
Within reason.
Hey, you can always suggest it.
But anyway, the way we usually do this show is it's usually a shorter show. We do a roundtable discussion about a game that we've played for the month. Usually, so far it's been indie games. That's probably what it's going to be most of the time. That's what I'm going to try to get is indie games. And we kind of talk about graphics, gameplay, the sound of music, and then kind of just decide if we want
Terrifying
to.
movie.
Oh, Sound of Music.
The hills are alive, man.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a little kid, so I don't even remember much about it.
Pretty sure I watched that a couple of years ago because my wife wanted to watch it. And
Yeah.
but like you, John, I hadn't seen it for like 20 plus years.
I remember watching it as a kid,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
that's
it.
a movie.
That's all it's like The Wizard of Oz. I don't ever care if I go back and watch The Wizard of Oz again. I watched it when I was a kid, and I'm fine. So,
It looks really good on Blu-ray.
I'm sure it does.
Remastered.
I just don't care for
All
that
that-
movie. It's weird. But anyway. Anyway, we'll talk about the game, graphics, gameplay, and music or sound, and at the end we'll all decide, if we recommend it, if we don't recommend it, if it's one that might be for some people, things like that. But I thought it would be cool to get a roundtable discussion about it. Hopefully, we'll be adding some more people as the show goes along. We had some issues the first episode with connections, and some people stepped away from the show, so I've got some feelers out
Stepped away.
for new talent to come on and talk about it, because I think getting a couple more people in is kind of good to have more than just the regular bunch of us talking about
Then
it.
you don't have to listen to us all the time. Look at these faces.
Yeah, look, it's somebody new and exciting. But anyway, I'm going to push this button right here, and it should play the trailer, and I'll give you guys a little description about what the game is. That is, if you're watching live, you'll see the trailer. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll just hear it, so it's fine. It's all good. So let's see. Tangledeep is enter the magical world of Tangledeep, a beautiful, polished dungeon crawler inspired by 16-bit RPGs. Colorful characters, unique job system, tons of skills, items, and diverse environments with deep, turn-based, roguelike gameplay. A different adventure every time you play. It has procedurally generated dungeons, items, monsters, encounters, and it also has permadeath if you choose to turn it on. No two runs will ever be the same. Awesome job system with up to 12 distinct play styles and ability sets. Mix and match to your heart's content. Like I said, it's available on Steam. It's $15 on Steam, and on Switch, it is $20. So, just by
Switch
looking,
tax.
So, yeah, you do have a little bit of Switch tax with it. It's a very small company that did this. It's called they're called Impact Gameworks. I believe they're out of Maryland, if I remember correctly. And the music is by Zycron. I have no idea what other soundtracks they've done. I haven't looked deep into it, but so anyway, like I said, me and Robert played it on Switch. Nathaniel and Eric played it on PC. So let's just get right into it. Graphics, 16-bit style, even has scan lines built into it, which I thought looked really good. What were your guys' feelings on the graphics of the game? Nathaniel?
Didn't like it.
Kind of looked like the Secret of Mana to me from like Super Nintendo. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
It really felt like they nailed the 16-bit style. It was, to me, very reminiscent of old SquareSoft games of that era. But generally speaking, I enjoyed the art style. It didn't do anything above and beyond for me.
Right. Yeah, it didn't think it was anything real groundbreaking, but the one thing
I was very underwhelmed. I do not like it where they just strictly adhere to this is 16-bit style, including making it actually 16-bit. Make it higher res so it still looks like the 16-bit graphics, but it's not like super jaggy on a monitor.
Right.
Especially on mine, it made things look very blurry.
Oh, really?
Now, on the Switch, it probably doesn't matter as much because it's not as high res, especially.
Yeah, I was going to say on handheld mode, it's not something I noticed too awfully.
On my really nice 1440p monitor, it's like super jaggy and blurry, and it's just kind of took away from it. It's not that it's terrible, I don't like it when they don't have the assets bigger. So I like it crisp, even if they're still going for that art style.
Right.
Make it so it looks crisp on every screen.
Yeah. And I wondered about that because I don't have I don't play on my 4K screen or high res screen. Usually I just play on a 1080p. So I wondered how that would come off on a higher res screen, especially with the scan lines, with no option to turn off the scan lines, which they weren't that bad. At least in handheld mode on the Switch, they didn't seem that bad. I played it a little bit on the TV. In docked mode, and it seemed all right. I hardly noticed them, so I didn't know if higher res
if you're playing it on a TV and sitting further away from it, it's gonna be different than where I was on my PC, where I'm like a couple feet from the monitor, and it's a pretty nice sharp screen too. So it's just really noticed that it's not crisp.
Yeah. So gameplay-wise, that's where a lot of this, most of this game is, it's a Japanese RPG, 16-bit style RPG game, so it's very heavily in gameplay. You have all kinds of different classes to choose from, Paladin, Warrior, I forget, there's 12, there's like 12 of them.
There's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah,
there's numerous classes.
Did anybody dive deep into the different classes, or did you just pick one class and stay with it?
I tried a couple.
I stuck with Paladin.
So I first tried the Hunter, which is like a ranger, and I was having problems at the boss. I was like, oh, maybe I need a different strategy. So I tried the Paladin, thinking I could hold my own sword and shield sort of thing. About the same. I didn't die as much. When you pick a class, it kind of tells you easy, easier, average, or hard.
Right.
I think that one was in the
casting
middle.
classes are the ones that are hard, like the Spell Shaper and the Soul Keeper. Those two, they look really cool. Like they have a lot of neat abilities. And the game's already tough for me. So
the thing that makes the Scoundrel easier is there's a few abilities that help you like relocate and escape something that's going to hit you. So there's one that's literally escape, jump on its head and stun them and go away.
I like where this is going. All right.
Smoke.
When the show is done, I'm getting back into
So it's very much a stabby rogue kind of class.
Did you play with keyboard, mouse, controller?
Yeah, just a keyboard.
Yeah.
Okay, I played with the controller.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. You're literally just doing pretty much directions for most of the part in the game.
Yeah.
You're just moving on the grid.
Yeah. And that was, I don't know how it was on PC if you used a controller, but I know on Switch, when you wanted to move, you had to point in the direction you wanted to go and hit the A button like you were tapping a mouse and keyboard. You could actually turn that off.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I would have liked that a little bit better, I think.
You can go in and actually turn that off, so then when you're moving around, you're still moving in the kind of jerky, because every time you move, it's... you have
like 8 directions, maybe?
Well, no, you have a counter for moves, so you can only move, and then stop, and then move, and stop. So you still have that, but when you're not holding the A button, it makes it a little smoother. The only problem I have with it is when you bump into NPCs, you don't have to hit a button to talk to them. You just bump into them, and automatically it starts talking to them. So if you're moving through town that way, or the little village, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if I'd call it a town, but the little area. The
hub.
Tiny hub.
A couple screens.
Yeah, you kind of bump into people and you're like, no, I didn't mean to talk. Oh, no, I didn't mean to talk. I'm just trying to get over here and put some stuff in my safe or my holding thing. Yeah, I keep bumping into them.
You were doing that with it on or off?
With it off.
I believe I was bumping into them the same way with it on, and that's kind of how I was talking.
Well,
to them.
yeah, but yeah, that's the way you do it. You highlight them, point in that direction, hit A, and then walk into them. When you have that option turned off to point, when you're just moving directly, you bump into them way more easily when you're not trying to bump into them.
Got it.
Which I didn't mind. I kind of got used to it with it on, and then once I turned it off, I was like, well, that's not terrible. I probably would have preferred to play it that way to begin with it off. It just seemed like it was kind of a strange choice. But it kind of made sense after you started doing the battles, because it's kind of like, well, you could kind of move over and kind of move your way around guys a little easier than just...
It made it more strategic,
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah, it did.
The way this stuff works to me reminds me of Crypt of the Necrodancer, except without, being a rhythm game.
Yeah.
Where it's all grid-based, and you move, and if you want to, attack something, you have to move into them and not let them hit you. It's very similar, except this one, it's turn-based, in quotes, where you can move whenever you want. If you stop and do nothing, it doesn't matter. It's not a rhythm game like that other one, but it still works kind of similar the way moving around the grid works.
Yeah. Procedurally generated dungeons and enemies. So as you kind of go up in level, you get different, monsters that you might not see before. And if you exit in the middle of the game and then come back, I don't remember if it reset or not. I was thinking it did. The whole thing, every time you exited out of the cave and go back in. I don't know if anybody ever did that. I did that once.
It does. I think it does. So if you go back to town and then come back in, I think it does reset.
Yeah, it's reset. It's totally different.
Completely different dungeon just from leaving it.
Yeah.
Unless you use the portal.
Yeah, unless you use a portal and then port back in. But if you actually go out the door, it's different. What was I going to say? Permadeath. Did anybody play with permadeath on? That was the first thing that I did not play. I did not play with permadeath.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite thing about the game, was how many different modifiers there were before you even started the game.
Yeah.
To make it either easier or harder. And, for me, this isn't, roguelike type games like this aren't really my cup of tea. But being able to go through and customize it and make it a little less harsh made it way more fun.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't even try the permadeath because usually I'm not the greatest at roguelike games anyway, so I would maybe start making progress and then die and then lose everything and then have to start over again, and I'd just get mad.
Yeah.
So,
super frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't got time for that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they gave the option to not have that on. There was actually 3 different options. I know there was permadeath on. I forget what the second one was.
There was like a health regeneration one.
Yeah, something like that. And then the third one was no permadeath, and the only penalty you had was, I think, you lost experience. Yeah, you lost some experience and lost some gold or something like that. Yeah, so
that's the one I took.
Yeah. So what else about the gameplay did you guys like or dislike?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just terrible at these kind of games, but I thought the game was pretty dang challenging, even with 2 different classes. It wasn't so much like the battles and everything. It was more of, okay, I die, I come back. Oh, wait, everything's respawned. Got to find my way through 4 levels again before I get to the boss. Boss kills me again. I was like,
yeah.
Where's hey, can I help you with this fight?
As soon as you beat that boss, it's easy because you get the, warp point. Or, fast travel point or whatever you call it, because right after that has a little weird hub area that then you can move on after, but you got to beat the boss first.
Right. Yeah.
Dang it.
The one thing that I forgot how to do was there was if you come out and you go back down and you have to catch a monster to put him in the pen or something like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember how to catch the monster because I stopped in the middle of it, had to go do something, and then I came back and I forgot what it told me to do.
You have to get a specific item that does
Gotta get the mallet.
You have to wear them out and then hit them with the mallet at the end for the last hit or whatever.
Yeah.
Then bring it back. And
then if your monster dies, it's very cranky, and you have to get it back up to happy, and you have to feed it. And if you got 2 monsters in there, you can try to put a mixed food in there, get them to interact. I played with 2 or 3 of them. I tried it. They were beneficial, but they usually end up dying.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's. I kind of. I don't know. The monster thing was kind of weird. I never. It didn't seem like it was something that was necessarily important. I don't know. I didn't see what the use of it was.
It depends on what class you play. I think some classes it would benefit more than other ones. Other ones are meant to be just like you're on your own, and they wouldn't really help you.
Yeah, and what was bad was I only played as a paladin. I really didn't try any other classes. I was going to really what I like to do with those type of games is I usually, instead of trying a different class in the game I'm playing, I like to have 3 different saves or however many different saves with different classes in entirely different games. And I didn't have, even though we got them a month ago, I still haven't had time to to play more than one class, just because I don't do 2 or 3 classes at a time, in one thing, which is kind of stinks. But
yeah. I enjoyed experimenting with them just to see which class I would like.
Yeah. So music. The soundtrack is actually done by several different composers from the 16-bit era. Some of the guys that did Final Fantasy, some of the guys that did Secret of Mana. I thought it was a good soundtrack.
I didn't remember there was music in the game.
Yeah.
If you had that, I would have it didn't stand out enough to remember. Hey, there was
cool
music.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I remember
like it's there in the background.
Yeah.
Like, it's pleasant. But...
Yeah, I enjoyed the music as I was playing, but thinking back on it now, I can't remember a single tune.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't anything that was like super memorable. I bought the album on Bandcamp, I think, or no, it's actually on Amazon Music. If you have Amazon Music Unlimited, it's on there, because technically the game on PC came out in like a year ago in early access, so the soundtrack's been up on there for over a year. And it's a nice soundtrack to play in the background and just not really think about it. It's just, nothing really stands out, but it's a nice atmospheric music. But I didn't find myself humming any of the tunes or anything after playing it. Even though I listened to it in the car when I was out working, and it was still kind of like, it's cool,
filling a gap.
Yeah, I mean, it served its purpose. I don't think the game was meant to be, here's this, awe-inspiring soundtrack to move you while you're playing. It's just kind of, here's some music to have.
It's not about the story. It's not about the music.
Yeah, it's more like that. So, but anything else? Any other feelings on the game? Because I mean, this is,
I mean, it's pretty much like this game is middle of the road for me. It's not terrible, but it's not great. It didn't grab me like some other ones, like Rogue Legacy did.
Yeah.
Or anything of the ones that you think are popular for the last however many years, like FTL or Spelunky or Rogue Legacy. A bunch of other ones that's just they grab you. Crypt of the Necrodancer. It's got that hook that brings you in.
Mm-hmm.
This one was just kind of okay, if you like the genre and want another one to play, it's got some stuff in there to dig into, but it doesn't have that magic thing about it that just really grabbed me and made me want to play more. I was like, okay, I'm enjoying it while I'm playing it, but I didn't feel I have to go back to it now like I have with some other previous games. Kind of
there wasn't any one thing that's really man, this is the game. But if you like roguelites and you like old school RPGs, I would recommend it. At least give it a shot. I think that if you're into those, it's got some replayability for you with all the different modifiers, and you can make it as hard or as easy as you want. It's kind of in a weird spot that I don't know who it's catering to. I would think it's catering to us, the people who grew up with 16-bit and really are nostalgic for that era, but it didn't do anything to really keep me there. The story was not what I was looking for, and back then story was huge, and the music wasn't anything to write home about. The gameplay's good. The gameplay's fine. I found it fun.
It's fun. It can be simple. It can be complicated if needed.
And I feel like we're coming off a little negative on the game, but I want to clear the water, and I think it's a good game. It's not for everybody, for sure. Yeah. But if you're into roguelikes and you want to see what it'll be with the 16-bit graphic art style, go for it. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe wait for a sale.
Eric, what'd you think? Would you recommend it?
Yeah, it's tough. If you're a fan of that genre and you like the art style, definitely try it. For someone like me, I was thinking that I would like it more, but kind of like what Nathaniel said, I enjoyed what I played. I don't know if I'll spend a lot of time with it. Every time I was playing it, I was like, yeah, I really want to be kind of playing something else that's similar. So it kind of sits there in the middle where it could be fun for the right kind of. I mean, if it's up your alley and you want to try something new and the price is right, go ahead and get it. But I think for someone that's like maybe looking for their first like roguelike experience like this, there's probably better choices.
Yeah,
there's so many of this type of game out there now that there's plenty of
such a big genre. There's so much
than this one.
Yeah,
because
I think that's a good call.
Crowded in the last like 5 years. There's a lot of them.
Yeah,
definitely not your first experience.
Right.
The one you should choose for your first.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I know Ryan did the written review on it, and he probably enjoyed it more than all four of us. He gave it a 5 out of 5. He really, really, really liked it.
Probably would have given it like a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
maybe like a 3.75
same.
out of 5.
Same. I'd say 4.
I think I'm most negative out of this.
Yeah,
I give it a 3 out of 5.
It's a 2.
Yeah,
it's tough for me to rate.
-20.
It's not a genre I have a ton of experience with, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
so that's saying something.
And I was like, it's like a roguelike. Roguelike, there's got to be that hook that keeps you gumming back for more. Keep taking that punishment, like Dead Cells. I'm like, I'm terrible at this game, but I keep wanting to play it. 4 hours go by, I'm like, I still haven't got anywhere where I'm supposed to go.
I think it would have almost been a better game if it wasn't roguelike. If it was just a standard RPG.
Like RPG.
Make it an RPG.
Yeah, just make it a standard RPG with a story in it. I guess
you could have done more stuff with the monsters.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know the big hook. Well, the big hook with it is it's roguelike. I get that. I understand.
Was there a bestiary at all? I can't remember.
I don't think so. If there was, I never saw it.
There's a recipe book.
Yeah,
but I don't remember if there's a bestiary or not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a recipe book.
The thing that this game hurts it is being the randomly generated stuff. It's really hard to do randomly generated and not feel generic.
Right.
And certain games have pulled off, but most don't. It just feels like, okay, I'm going through the same stuff all the time, and I think that hurts this game. Whereas if they'd just done, like you guys said, more of a straight RPG and crafted all the maps, it would have come off better, probably.
Yeah. I was, even though I knew it was a roguelike, I was expecting it to be more like Cosmic Star Heroine that came out not long ago, which was just a straight-up 16-bit RPG with a story and characters. It was more like Phantasy Star meets Final Fantasy meets, Secret of Mana, where this one has a lot of Final Fantasy and Secret of Mana feel to it, but with the roguelike part of it, it's like, I don't know. When I play an RPG, I want more meat of a story and I didn't feel like this had a ton of story to it. Unless you just had to hunt it out, I just didn't feel like it was.
There weren't even really that many like collectibles that you would get world story or world building with.
Yeah.
So
it's. I can't hear you, Nathaniel. I think you're. I don't know.
My bad. I was muted.
Oh, there you go.
The boss fight stuff gets a little bit more character because they're like talking to you a little bit, and then some of the people in town you get a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of like I couldn't tell you much about it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you much
about it. Kind of like in and out, and like, oh hey, there's
an evil that you need to vanquish.
Yeah. There's something you need to vanquish. Go in the dungeon, get it, and then come back and talk to us again, and then rinse and repeat. It was kind of. I would probably give it a 3.5 or a 4 just because I think it's a good game if you just want something to if you like that kind of game and you like that kind of style and you just kind of want something to play that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't seriously say, man, every night I've got to play this game to try to get deeper and try to find out more lore and try to do this because it's just really not there. And I understand too, it's a small dev team. I totally get that.
For sure.
It's only
it'd be a good game if you're like, with a significant other and you guys are watching something, you just want to fiddle around with something while the TV's on.
Yeah.
And you don't have to pay too close attention.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Other than just pay attention to your health. That's usually what I would find out in that game is a lot of times I would be getting hit and I would not be paying attention to my health. And then by the time that I'd see it, it was like too late. I'm already
Take your time.
Yeah.
Just don't keep moving around because if you don't move, nothing's going to happen. So
right. Yeah.
If you take your time, you'll do a little better.
Yeah, very true. So, but yeah, I mean, like I say, we would if you're into that kind of game, you like those 16-bit style games, go for it. I think it's especially if it's on sale at some point, definitely pick it up. And I know on Steam it goes on sale a lot. But I almost think it's almost better on the Switch in handheld mode. I think it would be, just because...
I would say probably, yeah.
I think the buttons actually add a lot to the enjoyment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Those old school clicky buttons.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I think it's more of a fit on the Switch than it is on the PC, or maybe, at least for the type of game it is. You got time to sit back and kill some time somewhere, whip it out and play that. It's definitely that kind of game. It's not a serious delve into RPG that I'm going to spend hundreds of hours in.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're not going to. Yeah.
Like a Fantasy
6 months of your life gone.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good, I really want something to play tonight. Oh, there's Tangledeep. Let me do a dungeon or two in Tangledeep and, get my fix before I go to bed or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I'll probably leave it on my dashboard there for when I have a couple minutes here and there.
Yeah.
Maybe falling asleep in bed or something, I'll pop it in.
I never uninstall anything from my my Nintendo Switch, unless it's something I don't have enough room for, unless there's a big game.
I would say unless you sold it, but you don't sell anything.
No, I don't sell anything. As you can see behind me, I don't sell anything. And over here.
Hope you don't ever plan on moving.
I don't, not anymore. I don't plan on moving anymore, because that was horrible, and I've bought more since we moved, so I don't really want to. I don't know, but anyway, that's another story for another time. But all right, I think we're going to call that an episode. But definitely, like I say, check it out. If you guys have any thoughts, if you're a fan of the genre. If you're a fan of the genre, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth it. It's a very cool game. If you've
played it, let us know what you thought of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you've played it, tweet us on, send us a tweet on Twitter or an email, podcast at the-gamer-lounge.com, or the Twitter handle is at @GL_podcast, and tell us what you think of it. If you like it, or if you're if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, you could drop a comment down in the link. I get the notifications when people comment on YouTube, and I try to answer every one of them, unless they're kind of trolly, and then I just ignore them.
Trolly.
But
give us your positive feedback.
Yeah, please, positive feedback or serious feedback. Yeah, I'll even say serious. I won't even say positive. It doesn't have to be positive. Just give us some serious feedback. Don't be like, well, it's not on Xbox, so I don't like it, or it's not on, it's not on PlayStation, I don't like it, or something like that. But anyway. But next month's game, we've already got it. It's already in our hands. It's Wargroove. I'm playing it on Switch. I know Eric and Nathaniel are playing it on PC, and unfortunately Robert doesn't have a PC, so well, he has one that it would probably play on, but the trouble is it doesn't support Mac. It only supports Windows, which kind of stinks. But Ryan has already played it, reviewed it, and put a review up on the website, so you can go check that out. Kind of get a sneak preview of what we're going to play. I'm going to try to get Robert a copy of it. I need to see if I can dig up another code, because I think it's a game he'll really enjoy. Has anybody played it? Anybody played it yet?
I'm holding off, so it'd be closer, since it's not going to be through the end of next month.
I hear it's like advanced.
Yeah.
Like if you like.
I played it just a little bit. I just played the beginning of it when the codes come in, and I just went, okay, this is going to be neat. I'll wait. I need to spend more time with it. So. But yeah, but if you guys have any ideas of games or recommendations of games, let us know. You can drop us an email. We'd be more than happy to play them and say, hey, we like this game, or it's all right, or something like that. But yeah, so we will be back next week for the regular podcast. It'll probably be a day early, because I have to go out of town to work next week. So yeah, so. But I do want to thank the guys at Impact Gameworks for sending the codes over to us. Yeah. We really appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
We always appreciate when devs and development or publishers help us out with this. If
you are an indie dev and you want us to cover your game, let us know.
Yeah, please. We will absolutely do it. That helps us out a bunch, and we enjoy spreading the word. We do like our indie games. So
help us help you.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks a lot, guys, for listening, and catch us next week or next time we're on. We'll see you guys later. Take it easy.
See you guys later.
We'll see you.